here I would like to share some practical approaches according to my experience. First, of course, early screening. The early screening, not only for our product stewardship, we need to check the regulation early, and even though the regulation is still in draft, and for those restricted substances, we need to flag and have close communication with the internal stakeholders. And we are also asking our internal stakeholders to involve the compliance review earlier. Ownership is very important. You know, a big regulation, actually, when new regulation come out and you need a decision for the whole process, actually you need to involve multiple functions internally. R&D, marketing, and supply chain, procurement, and EHS. You know, some regulations combine the regulation between EHS and product stewardship. So the ownership is very important. If not, maybe the decision will be delayed. The second is customer and market expectations. So, you know, we do have some cases that the customer asked us to develop a product based on our end customer spec. Yes, we finalized that, but our direct customer challenge is that maybe the end customer requirements is 100 ppm, but they ask you 50. Why? Because they want to avoid the risk. And sometimes maybe the customer, the direct customer is not really understand the end customer requirements. They just general, you know, see the product list and they are doing some testing and they don't want this substance are detected. That means the requirement from your direct customer is not detective. So it's, you know, we met many cases like that. I think the key points is that try to understand what is your direct customer requirements. If because the reason is he's not familiar with your end customer spec, then just try to explain or have good communication with them. But if your direct customer just want to avoid the risk, so they want to half, like from 100 to 50, or even not detected, then that's become a business decision. Because you want to get that point, you need a lot of you know, resource or cost. So finalize that, you mean in conclusion, that will be a business decision. So yeah, that's the customer and market expectation. We have to provide clearly and timely communication with our customer, and not just share the regulation. You have to translate the regulation into internal process, to internal language. Let those non-regulatory background to understand what they need to do. The third part is the documentation and communication. You know, ideally, all the data is, all the evaluation you are doing is based on the data, but the data has to be correct. So we actually put a lot of work on the data collection, data validation, or clarification with our raw material supplier. So maintain those data are very important because that's the base. Then you can make the right decision based on the compliance review result. So you also need to establish the clear communication with your supplier, not only the customer, also the supplier. The last part is the prioritization and digitalisation. We cannot do everything at once. But so we have to do a risk-based prioritization. That means you may consider the regulation urgency or the customer expectations or any resources consideration. So finally, there will be a risk-based prioritization we need to do across the products and markets. And then digitalization. We need a digitalization tool to help us to improve our productivity, effective, then track the right data to do the right decision for the compliance review.